And welcome back to the show. I'm Joe Concha along with Rick Unger, Heather Hansen, and Hank Scheinkoff. So yesterday, 47 Republican members of the Senate, led by freshman Senator Tom Cotton, released an open letter to the leadership in Iran. And here's what it said. It has come to our attention while observing your nuclear negotiations with our government that you may not fully understand our constitutional system. Anything not approved by Congress is a mere executive agreement. The next president could revoke such an executive agreement with the stroke of a pen and a phone, and future Congresses could modify the terms of the agreement at any time. End quote. Senator Tom Cotton joined Morning Joe today on MSNBC to discuss why.
Well, Joe, I and 46 other senators are simply speaking for the American people. Your own network just released a poll that said 71% of Americans don't think a deal that the president is negotiating will stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. The point we're making to Iran's leaders, who, if you talk to many Iran experts, will say don't understand our Constitution, is that if Congress doesn't approve a deal, Congress won't accept a deal, now or in the future.
Vice President Joe Biden, very critical of the letter, saying it was designed to undercut the Obama administration. Senator Tom Cotton disagrees.
No, we're making sure that Iran's leaders understand that if Congress doesn't approve a deal, Congress won't accept a deal, because we're committing to stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Joe Biden, as Barack Obama's own Secretary of Defense has said, has been wrong about nearly every major foreign policy and national security decision in the last 40 years. Moreover, if Joe Biden so respects the dignity of the institution of the Senate, he should be insisting that the president submit any deal to approval of the Senate, which is exactly what he did on numerous deals during his time in the Senate.
And in the end, Mr. Cotton boils it all down to this.
Iran's leaders have to understand that while the president negotiates agreements under our Constitution, Congress approves agreements. And if Congress doesn't approve agreement, then no future Congress nor future president is bound by that agreement, just as Barack Obama himself has repudiated agreements that were not approved in a formal fashion by the United States Congress.
Now, Democrats now screaming bloody murder, but if you remember back in 2007, the Bush administration went nuts when then Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi visited Syrian President Assad while the White House was trying to isolate Assad from providing support to insurgents in Iraq. So, Hank, are Democrats in Congress being hypocritical right now?
Oh, no. I think once Senator Cotton's spaceship lands from Zartron onto planet Earth and he finds his footing and gets out of his spacesuit and meets the Earthlings, he'll have a very different point of view. I definitely want a guy in the Senate, a bunch of other guys who have no foreign policy experience in most cases, deciding what to do and interfering with negotiations that are very sensitive with a country that may have a nuclear weapon. That's what you want every day. You don't want that. You want to be able to talk about it after the fact and negotiate when the negotiations are on and make a deal about the treaty, whether you pass it or not. But you don't want to interfere with the President of the United States because it makes us look like weaklings. Now, in Zartron, they are very weak. Here in the world, the planet, we work out, we take vitamins, but what they do is something else.
You ever notice that everything in space starts with a Z? I mean, what is that?
Cotton begins with a C, Z. It's like a C. And the language of Zartronians, it's a Z. It's not a C.
I think Hank is right, except that the fear is that they're not going to have that opportunity because this administration has been known all across the board for not allowing Congress to do their job and for making all kinds of orders, whether it be domestic or international, having to do with amnesty, having to do with Obamacare, having to do with this, and not having to do with the release of Bo Bergdahl, all kinds of things, not allowing Congress to have a say. And so while I agree that it may not have been the best idea, I think it is a sense of desperation that they have and that they have to get the word out there and do it in the way that they can in order to best put their foot forward because, Rick, the president is doing everything he can to stop them from doing their job.
Clearly, the way to solve that is to advise a foreign enemy in the middle of a negotiation. How else would you go about solving that problem? What's more, if you're freaking out that the president has violated the Constitution and overstepped his bounds with an executive order that's now making its way through the court, obviously the response is to say, dear leaders of Tehran, dear enemy, here's how you beat the crap out of our president.
No,
it's unbelievable.
So your theme, Rick, is two wrongs don't make a right?
Thank you. Let me make a few points. Number one, I never thought I would get a grin out of something an Iranian foreign minister would say, but yet I did this morning when he pointed out, dear members of the Senate, maybe there's something you don't understand about international law. You are wrong. When your president makes a deal, international law requires that you honor it.
Or to play contrarian, does he see this as such a sweet deal that they
No,
have so
I don't
much
think
leverage
there
right
is
now
a
that
deal.
he loves the fact
You
he
know
doesn't want
what?
this deal being upset?
What the Senate did was play right into the hardliners' point of view over Iran, who this foreign minister has to deal with, because he is trying to
But
make a
maybe
deal.
that's what they wanted
and,
to do.
Well, good for them.
Because
then they
maybe
have,
this
they have
deal is a
sided
bad
with our
deal.
biggest enemies.
No, because maybe this deal is a bad
Maybe
deal.
it is.
That it
So
should
what?
not
Maybe
have-
it is.
But
Then
you're
bring
not
it
gonna-
to the
you're
American
not gonna
people.
get
Bring
the
it
chance.
to the
You
Senate.
don't tube it.
One
Yeah,
of the-
Frank,
Bring it
they
to the
cannot pass this and make it into law without Senate approval. Number one, this is an international
actually, that's
treaty.
not
Number two,
true.
well, they cannot.
He
Well, he's
thinks he
trying
can.
not to.
But he
thinks
can't do
can.
that.
I agree with
But
you that they
there's a
should.
lot of things he
So
can't
go
do that
to
he's
court
done.
and stop him. Go to the Supreme Court.
You do
I mean,
not
this
go
is
to your
akin to me.
enemy.
This is extraordinary. This is like to being in a foxhole with somebody who you're fighting, who you're with, fighting someone else and shooting the guy with you in the foxhole first. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Let's go down a line because I want to keep our eye on the ball on a very important
Yeah.
part of this whole story,
Sure.
which is, would you make this deal, Hank?
Don't know what
I
the
haven't
deal
seen
is.
what the deal is, but I have a
The generalities of it.
I would never, frankly, were I a foreign policy person in this administration, I would never have permitted the Iranian nuclear activities to have gone as far as they've gone. Because they're dangerous to the world. Never mind Israel. First stop may not be Tel
How you
Aviv.
gonna stop
First
it?
stop is Riyadh.
How you
That's
gonna
what
stop
no
it?
one understands.
How you gonna
exactly
stop
right.
it?
But this is an attempt to stop it. This is the only. I mean, what else are they supposed to do? You know, we're going to talk a little bit later about one of the many ways in which this administration just cuts Congress out of the deal and does things that they don't tell them about and does things that are
So
arguably
let's appeal to
unconstitutional
our
and
enemies
illegal.
then.
So
Would you make
That's
the
the
deal,
way.
Rick? Was the question.
You know, I'm going to stick with the fact that I do not know what the deal is. I don't care how many people leak it. Now, but I do want anybody who says that they wouldn't make a deal just to tell me, just explain to me how no deal is better. Because if there's no deal, we know that they continue with their enriching program. That's the only thing we know for
No,
sure.
that's not accurate. They've been
Really?
going on with their enriching program all the time.
Right.
They've used this as delaying tactics
So
to put new
why-
cyclotrons in
so
place.
how does
and
no
they're
deal
getting,
stop
they're getting
that? One at
nuclear
a time.
material from the Russians.
How
which is
does no
extraordinary.
deal stop that? That's my point.
more sanctions, less money.
More sanctions, less
Because
dough.
it's worked so well.
Well, it's
Well,
better
it has
than
actually.
it did. It
Really?
was working until
was
they
working
backed off
until
the
you-
We've
sanctions.
gone.
backed it off.
Excuse me. When the Bush administration wanted to make it, or I'm sorry, when the Europeans wanted to make a deal, and Bush wouldn't let them, they had 250 centrifuges. Today they have 19,000. How you're going to tell me the sanctions have worked? That's preposterous.
Well, cyclotrons are a growth business. They
Yeah,
tend to,
okay.
they
So
tend to
you can
multiply
make
by
a joke about
themselves
it,
as
but let's not
mitosis.
fool people. It didn't work. The sanctions did not
They're like-
work,
they're like
and more
more-
sanctions
like-
will not work.
More on this
They're
a
hydrants.
little bit later, at least as far as the go-it-alone strategy from both branches, it appears. Coming up next, President Obama takes on Governor Scott Walker. This is the Daily Wrap.